Hey everybody, it's Michael from Mr. Knife Reviews. I was tagged on the 5 knives that make you happy open tag that's kind of making the circuit right now. And actually Mike from Sharpened Blade, go follow him if you haven't already. And Sharif Manganas from Manganas Steel both tagged me on this. And so I was really excited about the opportunity to jump on this. I needed the excuse, so I appreciate that, guys. So I could talk to you about a lot of knives. Knives in general make me happy. So, but I kind of wanted to focus on, I could show you, like, this is what I carried today, the Mass Drop Ferrum Forge Wee Gent. I could talk to you about that. But it's a great knife. I love it. But there are other pieces in my collection that actually bring me more joy and are more special to me. So I wanted to kind of focus on those knives that are very special and hold sentimental value to me. It's the case that I got into the knife world because knives are cool. Why would I not? Knives are awesome. But I really have stayed in the knife community because you guys are cool. The community itself brings so much to the experience. And so I didn't really feel like I could do a 5 knives that bring me joy kind of video without really focusing on that, because that's what I love the most about this whole world that we're in. So the first one I wanted to show you is the Spyderco Sliver X. The knife itself is very fidgety, very fun. The compression lock is always enjoyable. That's actually one of the reasons why I put if you're following me as Aurora Knife and Tool, the Megaptera build that I'm working on right now, the button lock is on the opposite side that you would expect it from, because I enjoy the action of a compression lock, is using your forefinger. So, it's a great knife in and of itself, but I own this knife because Ordinary Average Guy had been following me for a little while as Mr. Knife Reviews and loved my posts, and had this and a Benchmade Griptilian sitting around that he wasn't using anymore. And he just shipped me 2 knives. This is about 1.5 years ago or so. I was blown away. I would never have expected that. And he just said, hey, these are just sitting around. I'm not using them, and thought you might enjoy them. I mean, that's just like cool. Like, who does that? And so to me, this is, I'm trying to fit it into 5 knives and stick to that. So I didn't bring the Benchmade Griptilian as well, but both of those knives are really special to me because of that connection. And that was really kind of the first person who kind of did that big gesture that makes me go, okay, there's something different about this community. And so that was really special to me. That's the reason why the Sliver X is super special. The next one is the Orion Knives Solaris. So this is special to me for a lot of reasons. First off, I mean, the action is just so much fun. And, speaking of the Megaptera, I promise the entire video won't be just me shilling out the Megaptera, but I was certainly, this knife was what sold me on the button lock as just a fidget fun locking mechanism. So the action itself is a whole lot of fun. This one is actually my wife's, but I hang on to it for her, But this is special to me because David from Blade Banner has just been a huge encouragement and just a voice in the community that I can pitch ideas to, and kind of just learn from how he's launched his Orion knives. It's kind of funny, back when he first told me he was going to be launching Orion knives, I had been considering launching a knife company as well. And I said, well, what are you going to name it? And he said, well, don't tell anybody, but it's going to be Orion Knives. I was like, dude, that's actually the knife company name that I was thinking about, because my wife, her favorite constellation is Orion. And I was like, okay, well, I've got to scratch that one off my list because I'm quite a while away from actually being able to do that. And he, has already got to it first. But yeah, he's just a really good dude. And it's great. The knife, the ergos, is just really, it's great in the hand. But just him as a person, and just the encouragement that he's given me, and kind of the the push that he's given me, like, hey, check in on me every once in a while, like, hey, where are you at on that project? Where are you at on that? So I feel like he's been a really big encouragement for me just to actually get a move on and pull the trigger on Aurora knife and tool. So that's really special to me as well. The Savivi Hadros. This is special to me for a number of reasons. This is a prototype. That's really cool. I was able to snag this at Blade Show. They only had a few of them at the Wii booth, and picked this up. And ergo's great. Love the shape. As soon as I had seen it posted on Dylan's page, I immediately wanted it. So, and love this color combo. It's just really, really nice, really sharp looking. But this is special to me because Dylan's a special guy. He has been a huge supporter of Misheard Knife Reviews. He's probably the first famous person who was ever like, hey, I really like your stuff. He reached out to me before I reached out to him, kind of thing. And he had said, at Blade Show 2019, I guess it was, like, hey, come by the booth, bring me a magnet. And I was like, I don't know, just that was really cool to me that he reached out to me, and he's been a huge encouragement to me as well, and just a good friend, just a good dude. So this is definitely special to me as well, just because of that relationship with him, and just getting to know somebody that has done a lot of design work, is way further along the design path, and just being able to pick his brain, that's just really been really cool. The next one, this is not a great knife in and of itself. In fact, you could say it's a terrible knife. But this is the Nick Shabazz Cancer M-Tech that he opened. If you remember way back when, he had actually used a pair of pliers to hang on to this. You can see like the markings there on the handle where he was hanging on to it and trying to see if it would fail on a spine whack test. I think it actually passed. This is special to me for several reasons. One, it's just kind of funny because I couldn't remember the name of this knife. I didn't feel like looking it up. I bought the actual version of this knife before I really got into knives. And I took the clip off because I used to hate clips. And then it didn't close anymore because it needed the spacing of the clip to actually function. And so I was working on the screws and stuff, and I wound up slicing my hand open pretty significantly. I may even still have a scar from it. It was like on Christmas Day or the day before Christmas, because it was my Christmas gift to myself. And so I wound up just chunking the thing in the trash. And so seeing this knockoff come up was pretty awesome on Nick's Terrible Knives Live. And then I showed it to my wife, so the video of him opening it, just his reaction from it, and she was like, "Okay, I actually really like that knife. I know that's terrible, but she's loves stars and constellations." And so I reached out to Nick and was like, "Hey Nick, my wife really likes that knife. Is there any way that I could buy it?" And he said, "No, I couldn't curse you by actually selling it to you." So instead what I did was I traded it. It was at the point where, because I was Patreon, and it was at that point where the Z Hunter had gone out of stock, out of production, couldn't find it anymore. So you were having to do like other Z Hunters for once you met his, I think it was like a $50, you'd give him $50. And so I said, well, hey, could we just make that knife, since there's no more Z Hunters. And so he signed it as a patron. And so the knife is cool because it was featured on Terrible Knives Live. But the reason Terrible Knives Live matters to me is because Nick matters to me. I mean, really, he was the one that had me jump jump off into the weird world of knife reviews. And watched him for forever. I mean, I guess at least a year before ever actually trying to do anything on my own, and sort of watching everyone that he recommended, you know, Frankie and Bird and Pete, Kevin Cleary, you know, all these folks that he was recommending along the way. And so Nick was really sort of my gateway to the weird and wonderful knife world. And so this knife to me represents that in multiple ways. So yeah, so it's just, it's special to me. In some ways, this is the reason why I'm in the knife world in the capacity that I'm in. And I will say, Nick's accent is just fodder for misheard knife reviews. Instagram or YouTube just does not understand him. And so that was really the impetus behind, you know, the idea behind Mr. Knife Reviews. I was watching his videos all the time, and YouTube was getting him so wrong on all the closed captions that it just, the thing seemed to write itself, you know. And so if you see Nick featured a lot on Mr. Knife Reviews, it's not just because I'm a fanboy, it's also because it's just really easy to do Mr. Knife Reviews off of him because YouTube has no idea what he's saying. So anyway, that's awesome. And then this last knife has some connections to Nick. I believe he's the one that named it the Delia. Well, somebody else on the chat named it the Delia, I think, but he popularized that. And then Keith, let me jump in on the Delia owners group, which just, you know, is a bunch of silly people who own this terrible knife. But to me, it's a great picture of what the knife community is. It's people who love knives, but also love each other. I should have said 5 knives that make me sappy instead of 5 knives that make me happy. But yeah, this knife to me represents just the wonderfully weird world of knife reviewers, knife viewers, knife nerds, tactical bros. I mean, there's all the shades of knife people that there are. I feel like we can all kind of get together and laugh at something like this. And I don't know, that's just a really neat part of being in this community. So that's all I wanted to say. You know, I've got these knives. I've got knives that I've spent a lot more money on, and knives that have, you know, different features and things compared to these knives. But ultimately, if I had to let the majority of my collection go for some reason, these would be some of the very last ones to go because they are so meaningful to me. You know, I can cut something with most anything. But this represents friendships and relationships and community that you can't really replace. So anyway, those are my 5 knives that make me sappy. So thanks for watching. Guys, appreciate the tag. Mike, if you're not following Mike on Sharpened Blade, follow him. He's on YouTube and on Instagram. If you're not following Sharif Manganas on Instagram, definitely do. Both are great guys putting out great content. So appreciate the tag, appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you next time.